Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Batman the Animated Series ran from 1992 to 95 for a total of 85 episodes. The show, created by Bruce Timm and Eric Radomski for Warner Brothers Animation, won critical acclaim for its complexity, darker vibe, and appeal to all ages. Inspired by Tim Burton's feature films, the superior storylines, mixed with a superior cast, made this a true classic. As a fan of retro TV, I was amazed to find a who's who of actors and actresses from that era voicing characters on the show. From McHale's Navy, Bob Hastings played Commissioner Gordon, and Little House on the Prairie's Melissa Gilbert was Batgirl. Adrienne Barbeau from Maude voiced Catwoman, and from the FBI, Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. played Alfred. Night Court's Richard Mole was Two-Face, Michael Ansara played Mr. Freeze, and Ed Asner played the character Roland Daggett. Songwriter Paul Williams was the Penguin, and Diana Muldaur voiced Dr. Leslie Tompkins. The great Roddy McDowall reprised his role as the Mad Hatter from the 1960s TV show. Speaking of which, in Season 1, Episode 18, Adam West himself voiced the character of the Grey Ghost. No discussion on Batman the Animated Series would be complete without a mention of Mark Hamill's epic performances as the Joker. Reportedly, he drew his influence from Claude Rains' Invisible Man, Paul Rubens' Pee Wee Herman, Jay Leno, and the Chief Blue Meanie in Yellow Submarine. His alluring sidekick Harley Quinn was created specifically for this show. This successful new character was voiced by actress Arlene Sorkin from Days of Our Lives. With 4 Emmy wins, including Outstanding Animated Program, IGN listed Batman the Animated Series as the best adaptation of The Dark Knight anywhere outside of comics, and the best comic book-inspired TV show of all time. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Batman debuted on January 12, 1966, and ran for a total of 120 episodes. Its premiere cliffhanger, Hi Diddle Riddle, followed by the episode Smack in the Middle, were written by Lorenzo Semple Jr. and directed by Emmy Award winner Robert Butler. It introduced Frank Gorshin as special guest villain, the Riddler, a role for which he was Emmy nominated. Reportedly, Frank openly disapproved of the leotard look and petitioned for the more formal costume he also wore, which was a style later used in other Batman productions. The very first guest star was Jill St. John. Also a Bond girl and eventual bride of Robert Wagner, she played the Riddler's co-villain Molly, who hooks up with Batman on the dance floor. Their classic camp history was made. Labeled the Batusi, it led to a brief dance craze that has been used in feature films like The Animated Ants and immortalized by John Travolta's slightly backward version in Pulp Fiction. Game show host Jack Barry played the TV newsman. It is ironic that the game show he's most known for was his creation, The Joker's Wild. Toward the end of the second episode, Molly actually dies when she falls into the Batcave's atomic pile. Reportedly and unbelievably, the original script was a darker version where Batman actually let her fall. Perhaps just a bit too dramatic for what the show's creator William Dozier described as the only sitcom on the air without a laugh track. I suppose Batman saying, "What a terrible way to go-go," did serve as sort of a punchline. Besides being immensely popular with its teen audience and ultimately making pop culture history, the show spawned its own feature film while influencing other TV shows with its campy, hyper-colored style. Hey folks, just a quick reminder, you can show your support by subscribing, liking, and following me on all the various social media platforms. You can find me on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at Golden Rage of TV, and on Twitter at Golden Rage of TV1. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans! On January 9th, 2020, a new star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame was presented. As a huge fan, I'm happy to report it went to a classic television icon. Specifically, the boy wonder, Robin himself, Burt Ward. In a fitting nostalgic touch, Burt's star is located right next to his lifelong friends, the late, great Adam West. Chosen out of more than 1,100 other actors for the role of Robin, Burt is responsible for the many nuances that help to define the TV character. For example, hopping into the Batmobile instead of using the door and pounding his fist into his palm during one of his hundreds of holy something or other quotes. Some of the celebrity attendees included Kathy Garver, Robert Carradine, and one of the Catwoman actresses herself, Lee Merriweather. But it's also Burt Ward's work outside of show business that is a huge part of the real hero that he's loved for today. Alongside his wife Tracy, the couple's Gentle Giants Rescue and Adoption organization has helped to save and find homes for over 15,500 dogs. Their specialized care and feeding techniques are available online along with their Gentle Giants brand dog food, which you can also find in stores nationwide. So let's all wish a holy Hollywood Walk of Fame congratulations to Burt Ward, and I'll leave the link to Gentle Giants dog food and products in my description. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, and Jared Leto all have two things in common. One, they've all won Oscars, and two, they've all played the Joker in the live-action films. The classic TV live-action version of the supervillain was played by Cesar Romero, and he had something none of those other guys had: a mustache. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. The 1960s Batman had plenty of villains and guest stars to fill their shoes. And it's pretty well known that some of the villains were played by multiple stars. Most notably, there was Catwoman, who was Julie Newmar, Eartha Kitt, and Lee Merriweather. There were also two familiar faces playing the Riddler, both John Astin and Frank Gorshin. And did you realize there were three actors that played Mr. Freeze? Yep, George Sanders, Otto Preminger, and Eli Wallach. Actress Ann Baxter got to play two different villains, Zelda the Great and Olga, Queen of the Cossacks. Holy criminal cacophony, Batman! The fact is, there were many celebrities that were huge fans of the show, and there were plenty of cameos as stars would pop their heads out the window as Batman and Robin scaled the building. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. In 1966, Batman, starring Adam West and Burt Ward, hit the airwaves. But did you know they put it in front of a test audience at first? And it came back with the lowest score ABC had ever seen? Holy Rotten Tomatoes, Batman! Well, as it turns out, the audience didn't see any of the campy comic book stylings that they later worked into the final production.
Right.
And ABC had way too much invested to back out.
Of course.
Well, as history shows, Batman became the biggest television phenomenon to hit the mid-60s.
I was wondering when you'd get around to that.
It aired on primetime twice a week, with the first episode usually ending in that familiar cliffhanger, "Tune in tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel." And have you ever noticed the enthusiasm of that narrator's voice? Well, that could be because it's the voice of the show's executive producer and creator, William Dozier. And at that point, I don't think those early Rotten Tomatoes bothered him much. Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Batman has had his fair share of supervillains to battle, including one that doubled as a love interest. The Batman Catwoman saga has been in the storyline for the better part of 80 years. During the first two seasons of the classic TV show, the incredible Julie Newmar donned the seductive black cat suit. As well as having an acclaimed career on Broadway and in films, Newmar also appeared in many classic TV shows. There was The Twilight Zone, Route 66, Star Trek, Get Smart, The Monkees, the list goes on. As an innovative clothing designer, she gained 3 U.S. patents for her creations in women's undergarments. As a nutrition and healthy living advocate, she claims to have never smoked, drank, or taken drugs in her life. And she's renowned for being highly gracious to her fans. So with all this, I would say casting Julie Newmar as our bad but good Catwoman was the perfect choice.